got 585 cams. We got the tool to change the cams, and they're gonna go behind this cover. First thing we had to do, unbolt the footrest, use a bungee cord, pull it out of the way. There's 10 of these. You do torque them in sequence, so I'm just gonna go in a crisscross pattern and break them free, and I'm gonna back them out. It is not a bad idea to keep these all in the same order because they are different, and also in case you thread these incorrectly and they're baited to that thread, so keep up with them. Took a screwdriver in there. There we go. That little indentation right there, you can stick a screwdriver in there, give it a nice little tap, and it'll pop out. So if you were wondering, the bike is on the kickstand. The oil sits below this point, so you don't have to worry about having to do an oil change when you do this. I mean, you can, but you don't have to worry about the oil coming out. Taking a 15 socket, we gotta turn this thing over to top dead center. Come on. There we go. That marks there, that marks there, that marks down there, and these two marks are looking at each other there and right there. We got a 6mm bolt right here. This is the cam chain adjuster. This applies pressure to these to keep these in time for the top and bottom. It keeps this chain tight. There we go. I have not been in this thing since I put it back together. Go. So it's good practice to test this thing to make sure it still works. Got the cam chain guide. These are torqued, maybe 72 inch-pounds. Some people, they will pull this back, the tensioner, just so that kind of stays out of the way. I'm gonna take this. We're not at the point where we gotta worry about stuff falling in the engine yet. Still gonna be careful. Because I always have issues with the crank, I always have an issue with turning things and not being able to break it free, especially in this case when these things need to kind of stay lined up. So I'm just gonna hit it with an impact and we're gonna knock it free. Definitely get something like an impact or something smaller to just, or if you can find a way to lock this thing where it won't turn, it'll make your life a lot easier. So we're gonna take this off now. We gotta be careful. See that little thing right there? That's a key that we don't wanna lose. There's that little key. This has to come off, this has to come off, and this, and we'll be able to slowly walk this plate off. If we try to take this entire plate off without making sure that these cams don't move, the cams are gonna come out with it, and then the lifters that are right under here, they're gonna drop, and this entire engine is gonna have to be pulled. I didn't want that to slap like that. Slowly just, see that? See how the cam wanted to come with it? I literally slid this one and I saw the cam move. See that? That's why we want to be careful. And that one too. And that one too. I put the screws back on there because I felt like if it came out too fast, it wouldn't just fall out. So I put these on here to kind of give me a guide in a way. I think I might have caused myself a small problem here because now it wants to bind a little bit. So that might not have been the best idea. There we go. There we go. Next, we got 3 gears. We got the rear exhaust cam split gear, the front exhaust cam split gear, and the intake gear. If you see right here, see how those gears are split? This is the Lloydz tool. It has a lip on the back right there. It's gonna hook into those little teeth and it's gonna line them up, and it's gonna allow us to get this off easier. You don't have to do it this way, but we do have to get this off with also making sure we don't pull any of the cams out. All right, so we're probably gonna wanna go like that. So we don't want nothing to fall in there, right? This tool, I don't have anything that can grip this into place. Cannot easily pull this out now. I sure can. Boom. Perfect. And it is still on there. That actually worked. It released just enough tension off of that for that to work. I'm also gonna pick up my key while I'm in here because we don't want that to fall in, right? Do I have the room? I don't. That's okay. There we go. That one's gonna come off. There we go. As long as that cam don't come off. All right, and now we got this one. Here we go. Those are my lifters right there. They're sitting on the cam. There's two right there, right, for the intake for both cylinders. And there's one right there for the front exhaust. If we were to snatch that cam out, that lifter is gonna drop straight into the engine. And there's no way to get that lifter back in there and the cam while also dealing with the push rod tubes that are in here. So this is why Indian and also Lloyd's have cleverly designed these tools so we can swap these cams out without having to take this entire cam chest plate off here, which means we gotta take the heads off. Lloyd's tool, these little slides right here, they're gonna slide under the lifter and it's gonna allow us to keep the lifters up while we slide the cams out from under. Get it lined up. And we're gonna use our original hardware. Now line it up and get it bolted in. So right now, these slides, that one looks like it. Yeah, that one's out. So we're gonna use another tool that Lloyd's gave us that slides over the cam, and it's gonna allow us to rotate the cam to release the tension off of the lifter. And then we're gonna pop this under the lifter. Got the tool mounted. I did have to take it back off because I had a gap between the tool and the plate. I jumped the gun a little bit. So with the tool that Lloyd's gives you, see that cutout? That is actually for the key to stay into the cam. So once you hook it in, it actually locks against that as you turn the cam. Because if this is not in here, there's nothing holding that to lock it in. So I'm gonna lift up on this. All right, that's one. So if I did that right, that cam should be free. It's totally free, that's one. We'll slide that out. Here we go. Here we go. Popped it. Loose. Gently slide that out. Put my finger on it so the key don't drop. Now this one's got this little dial on it. So how are we gonna get that in there? Because I think that's blocking it. Huh. This is not this isn't working for this one. I know I'm doing something wrong, but I will figure it out. I made a slit in this tool. I'll show you after this. Let's see if this thing gets on there now. So you gotta be careful now that I'm seeing this. You're not careful, the cam will rub on the bottom of the tool. This one was giving me problems before I started, and I think it might be jammed. This may be a bad idea. There it is. That released it. Tighten that back. Ah. Crap, got it. Dear God, I'm gonna have to learn that, man. It's in there. Don't think I'm gonna get my tool back. Maybe I will. There we go. Because nothing ever goes according to plan with me, this tool worked perfectly fine for the exhaust cams, but it would not work for me on the intake. So what I did, I put a slit right there in the center, right there. And so what was happening is when I tried to slide that over with the key in, I couldn't get it all the way over because of the dial piece right there that helps the cam stay in. It lines up with the timing gear right here. All of my cams are free turning. So I'm going to slide this one out first. It's going to be my rear intake. Key is in there. That cam actually has a little bit of wear right there. The one that gave me an absolute nightmare, this one. I'm going to sit you right there. Cams are out. We can go back in with the new one. All the important stuff is out. Now I'm going to show you guys this. That is one of the lifters being held up. That is the lifter being held up that gave me a problem. That is the other lifter right there being held up. And that's the front exhaust lifter right there. We got all of our stuff laid out here. I'm going to do a separate video comparing the old cams to the new cams, and also a few things that I've learned along the way doing this. I am not going to finish this tonight because, as they say, freaks come out at night, but Brandon makes mistakes at night. So we're going to pick this up in the morning. Day 2, my lifters didn't drop. Here's the thing about this tool, right? This tool ain't a problem. This dial is supposed to come out, and I've tried to get this thing out, and the reason I went ahead and put a slit in this tool is because as I was tugging on this, it would not come out, and I didn't want to tug on this and end up pulling this cam out. It is what it is. I'm not even gonna try to pull it out on this one either. Next up, we're gonna put some assembly lube on these 585 cams, and we're gonna drop them in, and we're gonna start back reassembling this thing. I'm gonna drop assembly lube right there. I'm gonna put it right there. All right. Sideways. In. All right. That one's done. This is the rear exhaust. See that? The roller? It is on that cam. On the front exhaust, right there. That's 1. 2. The intake cam is a little bit hard to see because you got 2 lobes, but that lets me know that the rollers are where they need to be. There we go. Taking the tool off, we can see our lifters now. That one at the back is right on that lobe. You can see right there on that one in the front, it is right on that lobe. So we're good to go. Before I can put my gears back on, I do need to line these cams up. This one needs to be turned over, where basically this is pointing up, this dot's pointing up, and this dial is, I believe, on this side. So I'm gonna have to rotate these over to get these lined up. It's gonna have a little preload on them. But hey man, we got our lifters where they need to be, so it should be good. Oh God. All right, so that was a bit scary. My key popped out when my socket slipped. But we're back. All right. I hate turning these things over, man. It's scary. All right, so that one's at the top. There we go. All right. That's R and that's L for front. There we go. One thing I learned about the split gear tool, make sure it is completely bottomed out. So now you can see it releasing. But the problem was the outer gear or the outer teeth weren't meshing with this. So the teeth in the back made it through, but the ones in the front were still catching. There we go. Yep. Oh, wait. Yep. That's it. That's money. We're right at the end. Ah, got it. Goodness. Whew. It definitely makes the difference with this. I'm not saying these are the best, but understanding how to use these, like straight up, you're gonna have to bottom these things out to get those gears perfectly meshed, because the one in the front always goes, or the one on the back side goes, but then the ones on the front always are a bit of a struggle to get them lined up. I did put some assembly lube on the tip of my cams because we're about to put this cam journal plate back on here. As others have said, you got to walk this thing on here. All right. Oh, that cam's popping out. Gotta get this tensioner back on here. We need this to help mount this plate, because if not, it's gonna bottom out. All right, we're gonna take this one back out. Cam bolts. Added a little bit of blue Loctite on there. Nothing crazy. Let's install these. To torque this thing down, it's gonna move. Normally I would try to put my gear jammer in there, but this is gonna be a problem. Some people recommended rope. I'm just gonna jam this in the gear, and as it turns, it's gonna allow me to torque this down because it's gonna keep the gears from moving, and then I'm just gonna pull it out. Now this should come out. There we go. See, I marked that up. Timing marks. Right there, right there, right there, right there. Looking at this again, I'm actually off by half a tooth. Look at that. So I'm going to take this back off and do it again. All right, that's better. Now you can see we're lined up there and we're lined up down there. All right, this one, crank. There we go. Ooh, almost split it. All right. I need to torque these down. 71 inch-pounds. Pull this out. There we go. Took a screwdriver to it. I was turning the engine over to check the timing. We got the mark there, mark there, mark there, but these, when I was torquing the engine down, these have moved. Should be fine. These are the same length as the others, but it's just kind of an indication. If these two, if you can't see these two, you can use these two in this corner and down there to line it up. So we're gonna slap it together, fire it up, and see what happens. 8, 9. All right, y'all. And number 10. Moment of truth. All right, my good folk. If I did this right, she gonna start, but it's gonna ride rough because we still got to get this thing flashed. Come on, man. Bike is back together. It starts, it runs, it sounds healthy, but we still have to flash it, and that's where this comes in. We're gonna plug it into the bike and we're gonna flash it. These are my old cams. Everything went smooth for the most part. There's a learning curve to this. I knew going into this that I was not gonna get everything right the first time. I learned a lot, and I know next time I will at least be half as fast, or faster. I'll be faster. But don't forget, I am an official tuning location for Lloydz Garage. If you want your ECU flash for your Indian motorcycle, shoot me an email at tuning@brandonbicasso.com, or you can go over to brandonbicasso.com and check out the options that I have in my shop. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, catch you in the next one when we flash this thing. I hope you learned something. As always, peace.